After a week of not knowing what to do with our Friday mornings, Phase 4 of the MCU continues as the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is now streaming on Disney+. As always, with these weekly reviews, there will be spoilers, so do watch the episode before continuing. But without any further ado, this is my spoiler review of the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. With the weight of Cap's legacy on his shoulders, Sam decides to leave the shield on the Captain America Museum, and Bucky tries to figure out what he must do with his life now that his best friend is gone. And before we dive full throttle into this review, I want to know your thoughts. What did you think of the premiere of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. Start the conversation. That's the most important part. And while you're down there, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Why not click the subscribe button and you can stay tuned to every time I upload a video, be it a review for Falcon and Winter Soldier or just anything. And don't forget that later today we will have a live discussion about this very episode as well, so stay tuned for that. So as I mentioned in my spoiler-free review, this episode kicks off with an incredibly emotional scene as Sam picks up the shield, looks at it, and he attends the ceremony where it's basically reinstating the shield to the Captain America Museum. And it's just this overwhelming feeling of the weight Sam is carrying on his shoulders. He's an incredibly humble man. He didn't just lose the symbol that he looked up to like all of the people in the MCU, like all of us. He lost a very close friend, and I really like this scene because you get to feel personal and intimate with Sam. You get to look at him on a human level. And Rhodey as well. Rhodey is right here on the first episode, and they have this really meaningful conversation about what Sam will do, what Cap leaving the shield behind to him means, and they have a callback to the conversation that Sam has with Cap at the end of Endgame. And I think this scene does an incredibly good job at reminding us what happened before and the meaning of what happened before and how it propels this story forward. Because by the end of this episode, my friends, we are incredibly mad at the events that unfold because the scene is executed so well. So after that, Sam goes on this mission with the government in his new Falcon suit that just looks freaking amazing. And the scene is not only great, it's fun, it's exhilarating, but it's incredibly well shot. This scene would not feel out of place if we saw it in a big screen. This feels like a big movie, summer blockbuster superhero film scene, and I loved it. And we are also reunited with Batroc the Leaper in this scene, played by Georges St. Pierre, and we have this incredible scene where they drop out of a plane and start skydiving to get this soldier that Sam must rescue away from him, and there's this incredible chase throughout the sky, in and out of several planes, in and out of helicopters, just exhilarating stuff that I ate up every second of it. And so right away you feel that this show has an incredible balance of great spy action thriller quality, but also the more intimate dramatic stuff, because what follows after that is a scene of Sam working with his army liaison, if that's the term we're going to use. And we start to get a sense that the show will also explore how the world perceives the Avengers, but also how the world works in general after the blip, because stuff like that will have consequences. There's a man who approaches Sam and thanks him for bringing his wife back, and it's just really, really sweet, and Sam thanks him, says it's okay, he's welcome. And it hit me in that moment that Sam was also back. He didn't do anything, so he must feel incredibly awkward in moments like this, though he also feels incredibly humbled that someone would think to thank him. What follows that is a scene that caught me completely off guard, because we see Bucky back in his Winter Soldier outfit with the long hair that they should not have cut, and he's killing fools all around. We go into this hotel and there's this group of friends saying goodbye to each other, and then boom, the Winter Soldier is there. He kills all these people. He starts to choke a guy out and says Hail Hydra, and then there's this completely innocent bystander that's just there in the same hall that Bucky happens to be in, and he can't put his key on the keyhole of his hotel room because Bucky just frightened him. And of course, we don't see it, but there's the suggestion that the Winter Soldier killed him. And then we see my favorite scene, which is Bucky in therapy and how he's going about making amends with certain people, maybe evil people that control him. But I love this therapist and how she deals with Bucky. She does not bullshit with him. She says the stuff she wants to say straight to his face. And we see the scene of Bucky completely intimidating this woman and putting the truth out on her. There's a police force there ready to arrest her when he's done with her. And the therapist also has this kind of cheeky sense of humor to her, which I really, really like. And so after that, we step back and see Bucky trying to figure out just how he lives his day-to-day life, because this man lost 95 years of being alive, or even more, and then he lost another 5 years after he was dusted. He never really had a normal life. He's completely traumatized, and I really like getting this sense of Bucky trying to move on from his trauma, since he also does not have his best friend anymore. And he's having lunch with this sweet old man that he knows, and the man puts him on a date with a girl that's serving them at the table, and they're meeting later. And the man at one point looks at these mochi that they're about to eat and remembers his son. And it didn't even clock with me. Maybe it clocked with some of you, but it didn't even clock with me at the time how heartbreaking this small seed would be in just a few scenes. Because the show already sets up the Red Hand people. I don't know the name of the group, but they're the people who are being led by the girl who played Enfys Nest in Solo: A Star Wars Story. And Sam's liaison from the army is in Switzerland, and he arranges to be amongst this group. They're putting the masks on and they rob a bank, but because everyone has the masks on, the police doesn't know who to catch. And he tries to help out, someone grabs him and he throws the police away, and then he tries to stop this one guy who he saw coming out of the bank with the bags and passing the bags to other people. He goes to confront him, and the dude kicks his ass, which is very intriguing because he doesn't just kick his ass. The dude absolutely obliterates him, and it seems like he is a super soldier, or at least he's enhanced by something, which not only enhances the intrigue of the show overall, but it also immediately puts this Red Hand group on a pedestal, and it puts them in a much more important position than at least what I initially thought. And I alluded to this in my spoiler-free review, but the moments with Sam and his sister, I understand what they're going with this, as far as the concept is concerned. The execution in this episode, at least, didn't work for me too well. I think it slowed down this episode a bit too much. I understand that it was just setting up, and that is proper, and this is just the first episode. It's okay. But those moments with them, with the sisters trying to sell the boat, and them trying to get a bank loan, they just didn't really work. The bank scene, especially for me, went on a little bit too long. I liked it at the beginning. I enjoyed the genuine interaction between the bank teller and Sam. But apart from that, I think they should have cut that scene short much sooner. Though the bank teller's attitude and his whole demeanor, because he was being kind of a fanboy to Sam and then didn't help him out, that did really anger me. So in a way, I guess it was effective. But before we move on to our final scene, we have to talk about Bucky on his date, where he's playing Battleship, and every time he misses, he has to drink, though he cannot get drunk, so it's incredibly unfair to the girl. And they're talking about all this personal stuff, and you start to realize just how much Bucky has lost and how much he missed. He had brothers, he had sisters, he had parents, obviously, and they passed away long before he was even reawakened while he was the Winter Soldier. So he basically is all alone now after losing his best friend and not even having been there for the death of his siblings and his parents. And the girl at one point starts to compliment him about how he's really sweet for spending this time with his old man because he's all alone after losing his son, and something clicks in Bucky, and he heads to the guy's apartment, and he knocks on the door, and as the guy opens his door, you can see in the background there's a shrine dedicated to his son, and Bucky looks at the picture, and it's the guy he killed in that flashback while he was the Winter Soldier, and this scene broke my heart. As I said previously, I bet a lot of you clocked in very early. To me, it didn't even click, so this scene really hit the feels, and I think this show will have a sort of redemption arc, as much as it can at least, to Bucky, and I really cannot wait to see that. And so after that we have the final scene, and oh my god, Sam's liaison lets him know what happened in Switzerland. He has a broken orbital, and that's rough, my friends. If you don't know, if you have never gone through that, it's rough. You don't want to be in that position. But what happens then is Sam's sister tells him to turn on the TV, and the government, the guy who introduced Sam in the early ceremony at the beginning of this episode, is introducing the world to a new symbol because America needs a symbol. And so they introduce this completely random dude. We know who he is, we know where the story is leading, but at this point, a completely random dude as the new Captain America, and I was so angry with this scene. I was so mad. I was completely boiling as they introduced John Walker as Captain America. They gave him the shield, they gave him a suit, they're calling him Captain America.
Boo this man!
They did not consult with Sam, they did not reach out to Sam. I was so angry. And because I was so angry, and I bet a lot of you were too, I think this is incredibly effective and it's incredibly executed because it immediately hooks us for the rest of the show. We do not want to see this guy as Captain America. And I gotta praise Anthony Mackie's performance in the scene because the complete look of defeat in his face is amazing acting. He doesn't say anything, it's just a scene of him sitting down looking at TV, the audio is playing in the background, and it just completely broke my heart. And so the Falcon and Winter Soldier first episode ending with that hook is incredibly affecting, and I cannot wait to see what else they do with this show. And now they bring Bucky and Sam together due to both of them, I'm betting, not wanting this dude, whoever the fuck he is, John Walker, to be Captain America. It's going to be a great, great show, I'm pretty sure. So that's my spoiler review, my thoughts on the first episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. What are your thoughts? How excited are you for the rest of the show? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've watched this far but you haven't done so yet, remember to click the subscribe button. You'll be supporting me, the channel, and you'll always be aware of whenever we are here to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier or just anything else, movies and TV, really. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Stay tuned for my review of the first 3 episodes of Invincible. Is also dropping today. I hope to see you in there. And so until then, love each other and love the movies.